by leveraging the Tackle platform, we are now getting high value leads. And this gives us a focus on our entire sales motion. This gives us a deeper insight with a more effective way to get to that decision maker and that sale. Without that, we'd still be flying blind.
Welcome to Unlock Cloud Go-to-Market, the series where hosts Erin and Patrick Riley share the essential stages of the Cloud GTM maturity model to start, optimize, and grow your company's revenue through the cloud. They've helped countless ISVs tackle the ins and outs of their Cloud GTM motion. And in each episode, they're sharing those success stories from the people who have put them into place. Because ultimately, this way of thinking is the future, and the future is now.
Hey everybody, in this week's Unlock Cloud Go-to-Market, I'm joined by my friend David Gomes, CEO of Eclypses, where he talks to us about how his investments in cloud go-to-market are prompting investing from the investment community. Lots of investments there. So stay tuned to hear how he unlocks cloud go-to-market. David, how are you?
I'm doing great today, Patrick. Doing great. Thank you for having me here today.
Awesome to have you, and thank you very much for making the time to do this. I know you've got a cool story to tell, so we're going to unpack a little bit about that. But before we do, can you give us just an introduction of who you are and where you came from for the audience?
Thank you for having me here. I'm really excited to be with both you and Erin today to talk about our journey to the cloud here and really the impact that Tackle has made in helping us get to where we are today. But listen, my background the last 25 years is I've been an entrepreneur. I've had the experience of starting a number of organizations prior to coming to Eclypses. And I brought a couple of organizations to an exit, mostly in the technology, marketing, ed tech arena prior to that. But in 2019, I actually discovered Eclypses. I was going on an investor presentation back in downtown Boston. And I always recall when I was there and they were going through their solution, I kind of said, geez, I know they have something, but I really didn't understand what they had. And I don't necessarily position myself as a very technical person. But after talking with the inventor of the technology and the CEO of the company at the time, I was so intrigued with what they had that I decided to ask a favor. And the favor was, could I take that inventor of the secure MTE technology, a gentleman by the name of David Schoenberger, and bring him into Boston with me so that I could actually introduce him to people within my network, people who I know, like, and trust that have a lot, I'm going to say, far more technical, deeper technical understanding of technology than I did. And this was back in early 2019. And they all came back with the same feedback, which was, holy cow, we've never seen anything like this. This is very different. But it was a bit immature at that time. And there really was no pure go-to-market. So after doing some due diligence for a number of months, I actually decided to join the team, not only as an investor, but also as an executive. And so at that time, I joined as the Chief Operating Officer in 2019. Where we are today, I actually was appointed as the CEO in November of this past year. And really, my job right now is to guide us to this cloud go-to-market strategy, which is why we're here today.
That's such a great story. Can you tell us a little bit about Eclypses? Like, what is this technology?
When you talk about cyber technology, there's so many organizations out there, so many technologies and solutions. So I guess the question is, how do we cut through the noise, right? With Eclypses, the way we cut through the noise is we say, we're primarily focused on one thing and one thing only, and that is protecting data. And, so for any business leader, any CISO, anybody who needs to manage risk within their organization, in a sense, optimize reward and stay ahead of the competition, Eclypses has a technology that is FIPS 140-3 validated that will mitigate any material impact in the event of a breach. So now, what do I mean by that? What I mean is that we don't keep the bad guys out. We actually take the stance that bad guys are probably going to get into the network.
They're going to find a way. Where there's a will, there's a way.
That's right. But we have a technology that when they get in, they will get absolutely nothing of value. And that's really our position. Somebody gave me an analogy the other day is, the bank robbers go into a bank and they steal a bag full of money, but there's a bomb die in that bag. The bomb die goes off. That money is useless. That's who we are. We're the die bomb in that bag.
All right. So you first heard of them in 2019. It's 5 years later. How big's the company? Where are you in your startup journey?
Great question, Erin. So the company was founded in 2016. So I came in pretty early on. There was a history with the technology that evolved. Actually, the birth of the technology came out of the payment processing industry, you might say. And the inventors of the technology basically said, hey, if we can obscure or protect any type of credit card data, why can't we protect any form of data? So when we talk about data today, we mean any form of data that we're protecting. That could be anything from a document to a sensor value to live streaming video. And actually, what about usernames and passwords? Anything, credentials, because we know that data is going to be breached. We know that credentials will be stolen, and that's where we come in.
Any data created on any device in any way.
In any application, 90% of the applications that are out there today, and we'll explain how we're able to do that. We started, as I said, 2016. We were primarily an on-prem solution prior to where we are today, but there was some configuration. When I joined the team, there was quite a bit of work that we had to do on the product roadmap, because at that time, it literally took months to deploy our technology. But really where we've evolved to, even on an on-prem play, we were still deploying. It took weeks to a matter of days. We now have a phenomenal engineering team. I tell you, a world-class engineering team that has done just a spectacular job to bring us to a point where we are, in essence, self-service, where we can be deployed in a number of hours with no intervention from our team whatsoever, which is very special. So the team consists of roughly about 15 engineers located in the Colorado Springs area. We've got executives. Our sales and marketing team is basically focused here in the New England, Boston area. We're under 25 people, but we are growing right now.
So we're early in our journey still. We've got a solid product. How did we get here onto this call today? Where did you all begin your cloud go-to-market journey? And I think I'm asking a leading question because I know a little bit of this already, but for everybody who doesn't, can you tell us how you got here?
Sure. I think, the story goes back to January of 23, where our team was calling on a potential prospect, which was a multi-billion dollar leading athletic wear organization. And the team had multiple discussions with the chief data security officer at that time. And the way the story goes is that this gentleman had seen the technology, had asked for a number of meetings quickly right after he had seen the initial meeting. After about 6 weeks, as the chief operating officer, I had gotten involved and actually introduced myself to this particular individual. His name is Jefferson Dance. And Jeff said to me, he said, David, me and my industry colleagues, we've been looking at certain problems, and I've never seen a technology that solves the problems that we've been looking at till I saw your technology. He said, our problem is, though, is that here at this organization and at this particular organization, they said, listen, we operate within the cloud, within AWS. That makes it easy for us to buy. Right now, for us to manage a one-off contract, it's a little difficult. Well, anyways, this particular individual, Jeff Dance, that I'm talking about, ended up consulting with our organization because he was so enamored with our technology. And Jeff actually left that organization. He is now our chief innovation officer. He joined our team in June of 23. And at that point in time, we started looking at, okay, how can we deploy through the cloud marketplace? And Jeff actually worked with our engineering team to really understand the technology and the applicability in the cloud marketplace. And so he drove, I'm going to say, the technology roadmap side of things. We then brought in our operations folks, a gentleman by the name of Dan Lemoyne, who really, got to tell you something, we have a lot of MVPs on this team. Jeff leading the vision from a technology side, Dan leading the operational side. Really, we put together a plan to say, okay, this is where we need to go. And the first thing we did, Patrick, is we got executive alignment. We got everybody on the team to understand what is the value of deploying through the cloud marketplace versus on-prem one by one by one. And we actually get everybody to lean in and to buy in. And that started at the board level, from the executive level to the entire team. But in a weird way, I say this, we didn't know what we didn't know. And that's where Tackle comes in. What you folks did at Tackle is that you gave us really an understanding to validate what our plan was, first and foremost. But secondly, in joining and working with you on our coaching program that you provided, you were able to actually provide us with a refined outlook on exactly where we're going. You gave us the insights on how to get there. I know, Patrick, you work directly with Dan Lemoyne. If I'm not mistaken, you guys had probably 70 action items after our initial go-to-market strategy for executives, for our sales, for our operations. So in a way, we didn't know what we didn't know. And without your guidance, without your expertise, without literally the insights that the tackle team was able to give us, we wouldn't be here where we are today.
You had a product market fit, but you needed to adapt that fit for the marketplace. And it sounds like you all were able to change that around really quickly. Obviously, we were able to help you then prioritize, the internal action items to go after next. That's awesome.
And working with us at Tackle, that helped you validate your strategy and your assumptions. So, what in there were you looking for to really help you prioritize cloud go to market with the cloud providers?
Again, I'll go back to the insights that you and your team provided us. And we were flying blind. We didn't have that expertise in-house. Although Jeff had actually had it on, from I'm going to say from an enterprise side of purchasing technologies, Dan Lemoyne was on a team that had leveraged the marketplace as well. We really didn't have it from an ISV perspective. There were things that we didn't understand. We didn't understand the accelerator programs that AWS puts on. We didn't understand the requirements that we thought we knew, but we didn't know. So the value that I'm going to say that Tackle has brought us is the expertise, the insight, but also the technology. I mean, now that we're leveraging the Tackle platform for the propensity to buy, it's giving us the insights and the actual data-driven metrics on customers that actually have a propensity to buy, which is in essence streamlining our sales process. So you got us to a certain point where we can actually go live, and now we're leveraging the technologies to actually accelerate the sales process.
We got you to the point to go live. So you can actually like transact in the marketplace. You can understand which customers that you should start to have that conversation with. But you also did something else inside of the company, which you knew you needed to transact in the marketplace, but you really took a deeper look at the product and how to really make it a product-led marketplace experience. Can you share with us a little bit about that, continuing to build out your product so that it was a marketplace first experience?
You're absolutely correct. And if you recall, one of the things I said is that we had a toolkit methodology, developers to work with our toolkits to deploy to mobile applications at that time. And as I said, it took days to weeks to sometimes months to deploy, depending on the organization and this on-prem. We realized that in order for us to be successful, we had to have a licensing platform that would allow us to scale. That's one of the things that the marketplace gave us. But we also realized that we had to have a solution that we had to make it easy, not only easy to buy, but easy to deploy. And our engineers, in a matter of months, were able to create a containerized solution that can be deployed through the marketplace in a matter of hours. And now prior to this, I will say this, we were early on in our journey here in talking with the engineers, we felt as though we could do this. We could deploy the client, the server side without issue whatsoever, no intervention whatsoever from our team. But our team at that time, the methodology would be, well, we would then send out a compiled library to our customer, and then we would actually help them deploy it on the client side. And we said, no, you know something, that's not going to work.
That's not a great customer experience. Like, how can we make this customer experience even better?
Absolutely. And this is where I give our engineers the fullest credit. Again, led by Jeff and a gentleman by the name of Joe John Jacquet and another gentleman by the name of Trevor Blackman. These guys did an absolutely amazing thing. In just a matter of months, we were able to create a solution that is fully deployable through the marketplace with absolutely no intervention from us, both on the client side and the server side, or APIs server to server, that is supported by all of our documentation. It's supported by our videos that we provided. And we've made it easy to deploy. And as I said, there's truly no intervention required from our engineers whatsoever. We're now live in 140 different countries on a global basis.
It started with a customer saying, I really love your solution. My budget is aligned to the cloud. Can we buy this through the cloud? And you're like, oh, I've got to try and figure out how to make sure I can be purchased through the cloud because that's where our customer's budget is. Then you go down this route of looking at this cloud marketplace and you realize, wait a minute, this could actually help us also fix this other experience that we have, that it takes weeks and days to deploy our product. Like if we did this, we not only can our customers now use their cloud budgets to buy this way, but we actually fix our product experience as well. And we decrease the time it takes to deploy our product. Our customers now have a better experience deploying. They can actually start using the product sooner. It can start getting their ROI on what the product value is sooner. And we start actually also driving consumption sooner because the sooner your product gets out there and used, the sooner you start to drive the consumption and you start to get those meters going in the cloud's environment.
You hit on some great points. In addition to that too, by going to the marketplace, what we realized is we went through an entire foundational technical review with AWS. So right then and there, along with our FIPS 140-3 validation, along with now the industry analysts following us and writing about us, we now have market validation by being in the AWS Marketplace. We are a trusted vendor of those enterprises that are already committed to spend in the marketplace. They see that we've gone through the process that AWS has gone to vet our technology, to vet our processes, our documentation that is aligned with it. So we're validated now in the marketplace. We've simplified the procurement process now. We don't have any contracts that are going back and forth and redlining and whatnot. We're leveraging the marketplace itself, leveraging their end user license agreement. We're certainly offering what we call private offers as well, but that is, again, a simplified process through the marketplace itself. We've made billing extremely easy now. We talked about the global reach, but really what it comes down to is we are making it easy to deploy, easy to buy. Our revenue model, it's a simplified revenue model. It's repeatable. It's predictable. It's a consumption model. It's a pay as you grow in essence. We could never have done any of this. We could never have achieved any of those key points without being in the cloud marketplace.
Recapping, we've just kind of set the table with product, right? And that there's no shortage of work involved in everything you've just talked through, getting us ready from a product market fit, getting us involved in the marketplace, getting the right resources aligned, shifting how we look at providing better customer experiences for our customers. And in the spirit of kind of unlocking cloud go-to-market, this whole podcast, we're really looking at through the lens of Tackle's maturity model. And so, quick overview for those listening that might not have heard. We've got a maturity model where we look at customers through various phases of growth in their cloud go-to-market journey. And this journey is kind of like rungs on a ladder where the very base, you've got to have a sure footing where we establish our foundation and we climb the ladder and go all the way to scaling adoption. And if I look at Eclypses in this journey right now, I think you're really definitely in the establishing foundation phase. You've built out that product alignment fit, but I'll caveat that with you look a lot further than you are because you've got some great strategies that you've implemented internally with an alignment specifically. And I'd like to dive in now a little bit more on the people side of things with you and talk about when you looked at this problem and you all looked at the opportunity in front of you for marketplace, how did you think about aligning the rest of ELT, right? You get it. You came in CEO, you had great people around you, gave you great advice, but how did you get everybody else behind this? And within that experience, like who were some of those people and key players on the team that helped build that out?
As I said, we have a phenomenal team. We've got a lot of, I'm going to call it MVPs here that should go to quite a few people here. But, as I said, I had mentioned Jeff Dance before with the initial vision and then driving the product roadmap. I did make mention of Dan Lemoyne, and I tell you what, Dan's a superstar. You've worked with him directly, Patrick, on the coaching and strategy on a weekly basis. And really, he's a KPI metric-driven guy. He's also kept everybody aligned. The amount of research he did before we even met you guys and the folks at Tackle, was astronomical here. And he put us in a great position. But what Dan has done, he drove us to really understand what the vision could be. With Dan's input on all of his research, Jeff, myself, Larry Murray, our other chief revenue officer, we put together a business plan and we presented it to the board. And the board understood it. They understood the value. What we did is we talked about, again, some of the things that we talked about earlier. If we looked in the rearview mirror and said, hey, we had this great technology. We're not abandoning the technology. We're just looking at what's the best way to deploy it, what's the best way to consume it. Let's create a licensing platform that allows for infinite scalability. Let's be able to deploy it in a way that takes hours, that is self-sufficient, self-service. And we actually put that in the plan. And our board of directors had full buy-in on that. One of the things that we did afterwards, once we got buy-in, we actually went to all the team members. I needed the team members, the engineering team, our marketing team, everybody to understand where we're going. And I couldn't be more proud of how we got to where we are today. And it's been a journey. It's been a learning journey. And part of the value that Tackle has brought us is identify the areas that really the gaps that we needed. One of the true gaps that we understood that we needed from a people perspective is that we needed a cloud alliance director. We need somebody to come in and actually not only lead the sales motion within the marketplace, but actually create the sales motion within the marketplace. One of the most strategic hires that we made was the first week of April of this year, Taylor Brooks. Taylor is a certified Cloud Alliance director. She comes from the Caddyshack group. She's worked with awesome partners. She's opened our eyes to what is required to really get into the ISVA, the accelerator programs. She opened our eyes to understanding how we get to the worldwide service organizations within AWS, to open the doors to other partners. She really is defining that sales motion. And Patrick, you may recall you were part of that recruitment process with us. You and your team provided us with, I'm going to say, certain leads and through your network. That's how we were able to find Taylor, and you assisted us on the interview process to ensure that we had the right candidate. And I'll tell you right now, we've learned more from Taylor in the last 2 months than we did in the last 8 months combined on this particular journey when it comes to the sales motion. So when I look at the people, as I said, we've got a lot of MVPs here. Jeff was driving the engineering, the tech roadmap. Dan was driving the operational side of things. Taylor, along with Larry and the sales team, are driving the sales motion, the co-sell sales motion, and the co-build, the co-brand within the partner network.
I always tell people, yes, you can do this. You can figure all this out and you can build your cloud go-to-market and you can operationalize it and all these things. You can do this, or we can do it faster together. So I love that you guys are taking that philosophy of there are experts out there in the industry who can help us do this faster, and you hiring Taylor, hiring Tackle to help you learn faster so that you can get to market faster. It's such a great best practice. When you hire Taylor and she's kind of opening your eyes to here's all the things that we have to go do. And now that you have Tackle's platform, what are the next steps you're taking to really start to operationalize your strategy inside of Salesforce?
If we talk about Salesforce for a moment, that was another strategic move for us to adopt Salesforce as our CRM. But we also realized, again, going back to working with you folks and with Taylor, understanding things that we didn't understand. I'm going to say AWS had certain requirements for their ISVA programs, and that's the Independent Service Vendor Accelerator programs. And in order for us to be assigned a PDM, we needed Salesforce. But we had a different CRM. I don't have to name who they were, but that wasn't part of what aligns properly, not only with the ACE portal, but also with the Tackle dashboard as well. So bringing Salesforce in and adopting Salesforce, integrating with the Tackle dashboard, with the propensity to buy platform, combined with the insights that we get from the ACE, I'm going to call it the ACE portal, truly gives us the benefit of accelerating our sales process now and understanding the insights of the customers the buying habits and their propensity to buy, which again, I'll go back, is accelerating our yield to productivity.
You talked about a lot of cool things so far. I wanted to unpack a little bit more on, this foundation that you've built with, yes, we did product fit, then we had executive alignment. Something cool I think that you skimmed over, which everybody should listen to, is that you went and spent time one-on-one with all the employees. I know that's not scalable at huge companies, but like getting everybody on board with the pillars of this venture and this go-to-market strategy was nothing to skim over. So like kudos to you for doing that. But that was an important phase of getting that alignment, not only from the executive team, but from individuals. And then, you just talked about Salesforce. We've got people in place. We've got alignment across product, but now we need to look at how do we implement the right tools to do so. Bringing in a different tool, obviously, that's not an easy thing to do. It's a transformational change. So I think you're really looking at this as a business transformation, which is something that a lot of companies aren't looking at it that way. So how did you come to the realization that the company is going to need to change what we're doing from a tooling perspective, and we're going to need to leverage some new things in order to grow scale? Like what was the realization for you? Was it just simply that, hey, Tackle and AWS have come in and said, hey, this is kind of the way forward? Was there anything particular in any of these tool sets, like maybe Prospect or something else, that were motivational to say, this is something we should probably get into future proof or whatever?
Customer feedback. Once we got that initial feedback from Jefferson, we then started talking to other clients, and they said the same thing. We have another, what I'm going to call on-prem client, that has said, yes, this would work for us. In fact, through this journey, we did what we call a soft launch in the last month, as we really truly became live in the marketplace with our certain customers that know us well. And our initial soft launch was really to get feedback on the actual experience, which worked out tremendous on preparing ourselves for our true go live in the marketplace. But listening to our customers was extremely important. But I also listened to the marketplace as well. And we did some research. There's an organization that many people know. It's one of your customers, Wiz. And I try to say that we're trying to follow the Wiz playbook. Wiz is the fastest growing organization to 100 million in revenue. And you guys were part of that market strategy. And that's when we said, how do we get to Tackle.io? That's when we had our initial meetings right now. And again, Patrick, you and your team validated our approach after you took a look at our technology. From our perspective, or from an executive perspective, it was talking to our customers, doing some industry research, understanding, I'm going to call it the growing market, the growing transactions in the marketplace. I was truly unaware of how big the marketplace was in terms of services and technologies being deployed to enterprises. And then understanding the value that we kind of went through, that not only that we can offer our company, but this better together story that we've created for the AWS reps themselves. And because it's driving consumption in the marketplace, it's driving consumption for the enterprises that have committed spends. And the reality is, because we're an enablement technology, we get too deep into our tech, but we're at the application layer. We're an easy add-on to any web application or any mobile application in the marketplace. The analogy somebody had given me early on, they said, well, the AWS reps and the reps that are out there servicing their enterprises, they're trying to sell them an ice cream sundae. But once they sell them the ice cream sundae, you guys are the cherry on top of the hot fudge and the sprinkles that go on. You're an easy add-on for any application that is requiring data security. Most applications require data security. So again, we're looking to make it easy to buy. And then the last pillar here is the industry analysts. We've started talking to the industry analysts out there. One in particular, organization called HFS Research, when they really dove in and looked at our go-to-market strategy early on, they said this will make a difference. In fact, I will tell you, and I'm very proud to announce that just this past Friday, we were selected and highlighted by HFS Research as a hot new vendor. This was a 5-month study done by Joel Martin and his team at HFS Research, looking at our technology, going under the covers, talking to our customers. And this report just came out. And in this report, he writes, Eclypses has game-changing technology. We don't have the market brand of the other big boys yet, but we have something that really nobody else has when it comes to protecting data. And by deploying it through the marketplace, we've now got an entire TAM that we never had before that allows us to implement quickly, easily. And let's call it what it is. I've talked to another vendors. We're all in this together. I mean, this competition, but what are we trying to do? We're trying to protect the integrity of organizations. We're trying to protect data. Some people are just doing it in a different way, but we are so complementary, not only to applications that are out there, as I mentioned, but also to other cyber technologies that we're already talking to, because we are the last mile for them as they help their customers protect their data as well.
You said it right. So you've got this whole new TAM, a bigger TAM than you originally thought you had. So how are you getting to know your TAM, and how are you starting to use the tools you have at Tackle to really help you understand that TAM and figure out which customers you're going to go start to approach with your joint messaging of Eclypses and AWS through the marketplace?
Well, I mean, that's where the Tackle Prospects platform comes in for us. I mean, that truly streamlines our sales motion. Being able to understand, providing a list of enterprises that we're going after and understand what their buying propensities are. I mean, this is data-driven optimization for us. Let's call it what it is. Bottom line, you guys, by leveraging the Tackle platform, we are now getting high-value leads. And this gives us a focus on our entire sales motion. This gives us a deeper insight with a more effective way to get to that decision maker and that sale. Without that, we'd still be flying blind.
And that kind of starts to give you the next momentum around creating co-sell opportunities and starting to engage with AWS.
Correct. I mean, because that is aligned into the ACE portal itself. This is where our co-sell motion comes in with Taylor Brooks, who's really led this initiative right now in bringing us into alignment into that ACE portal. It's truly all coming together for us.
And giving you an opportunity to start to build your brand inside of AWS. You said earlier, by being in the marketplace, it gives you market validation. Because you're a startup, people don't know who you are. But the fact that you are in AWS's marketplace, there's brand validation by aligning your brand with AWS's brand. Now customers have more confidence to try this product that they've never heard of because, well, it's certified to be in AWS's marketplace. It's got to be a good quality product. And then you've got to go tell your story to AWS so that when their customers go to their AWS rep and they're like, hey, we're thinking about this product, what can you tell us? You need to start to get those AWS sellers educated. So using co-sell as a way to also start to build your brand inside of AWS so people understand who you are and what you do.
Tay's doing a great job at that right now today, right? Using that platform to help go educate folks. And the last we talked to, you all were at various events, and I think you're going to be up at some coming up.
Taylor, we call her Tay. We've learned more from her in her experience from the co-sell understanding than we had in months before. And her experience that she brings forward in leading this effort has just been exponential. She is creating that, as I'm going to call it, Erin, you talked about it. What's the benefit to the AWS rep? That's our better together story.
Yeah, you got to sell to the cloud before you can sell with and sell through.
Listen, we're one of thousands of vendors. Again, how do we cut through noise? What we want to be able to do is show them what the advantages are that we bring to their customers. How do we make their life easier? How do we actually help them, I'm going to say, in their endeavors and help create that better together story with them? And Taylor's been fantastic in working through that with us.
And all of this investment that you've made in establishing this solid foundation, in doing all this research around proving out that this is a strong go-to-market strategy for you, it's also played in your favor in the investment community. I don't know if you can share or to what level you want to share, but this has also been a game changer as a startup in the investment community in how they look at you.
It really is a game changer in how the investment community views us. when we talk about the investment community, we've raised a significant amount of dollars, to date, but all from high net worth individuals. We haven't gone the institutional private investor route just yet. But we did speak with some folks early on. We just didn't fit their criteria, on who we were, what we were doing. Fast forward to where we are today. We're now active discussions with some institutional investors. And the primary reason is because they've highlighted our strategic move to the cloud as, I'm going to keep using the term game changer. They see the value and the scalability that we've created by moving to AWS, to the AWS Marketplace, and to deploy through the marketplace itself.
It's not just that you invested in getting listed and that you're in the cloud marketplaces and you have this cloud play. You've actually productized being in the market.
The institutional investors have seen, and they pointed it out, they see that we're aligning ourselves with experts like you guys. They understand, through the coaching program that we have, they understand that we are getting this expert advice from you folks, that we're getting the tailored strategies that are proven. They've worked for companies like Wiz and your other clients. They see that. And they also understand that this strategy is going to optimize our sales process. And so this highlight, us being in the marketplace, it's alignment with experts like Tackle that have the experience in working with other companies to really burst them out, has really played in our favor as we tell our story to these investors.
And it's cool for us to hear these kind of things. And I know we got a preview of this when we were chatting with you around having this podcast. When you say that and you talk about it, it makes me excited for all the other ISVs that are out there trying to start up in their category. And they're looking at, where do I go from an investment perspective and what's the right method for me? And no matter which you decide, you're going to get more attention if you put the right people in the right positions. You look at this from a true channel, a true go-to-market investment, and you surround yourself with others and a product that are going to really be driven by, on, and through that cloud. So kudos to you. It definitely makes me excited to hear it. Speaking of other ISVs and those that are just getting started, we've talked a lot about a bunch of different topics, from the product fit to the executive alignment to cross-functional teams to a little bit of your technology and Salesforce. But holistically, if you could sit down with a CEO of another young startup and give them some lessons learned on, what would the few, 2, 3, 4 things be that you would say are like, this is what I would convey to them?
As I look back in my career, even in my previous leadership roles at other organizations, I've always taken the position that you need to surround yourself with good people to be successful. And I do feel confident that this company is on a tremendous journey, and we will be on a rocket ship very soon. And it's not going to be because of me. It's going to be because of our team. And so the advice I would give to any other CEO is, first and foremost, you need team alignment. We need to make sure that everybody is all in. We need to bring in people that have experience and expertise that you don't have. And, I will say humbly, I was completely unaware of the true value of being in the marketplace was in January of 2023. That was a learning experience for me, but I learned from people that we brought in so I could get their feedback, understand their feedback, process it together. I mean, this was a true team event, and putting together a strategic business plan. We had a completely separate plan on this cloud go-to-market strategy, and we presented this to the board. We made sure it was easy to understand. We just really want to put it down in plain words. This is where we were. These are the issues. These were the obstacles that we had to overcome. And with each one, we kind of drew a line to say, this is what's going to bring us. By going to the cloud marketplace, this is how we're going to address that particular obstacle. And by just creating a picture in that business plan that's easy to understand, that's where we got the alignment right away. Again, taking that same approach with the team members, because our team members, a lot of these guys were in a lot longer than me, and they want to see growth as well. And having that buy-in on this new vision, this new strategy was so important. One of my advisory board members, who is the chief business officer for a very large cyber firm, said, "Your team in 6 months did what took us 18 months." So we know that we moved at the speed of light, and that's because we had everybody all in. Guys on our engineering team were taking time during their holiday breaks, weekends, and I've got a young engineering team. I know that these people have real young kids. I don't want them to miss their little league games and their plays and whatnot. And then hopefully they never did, but they got done what they needed to get done. And they did it in a timely fashion because they all understood where we were going. My job, honestly, as a leader is I need to drive the bus. I just want to make sure everybody's on the bus.
Well, when you're excited about what you're doing, giving your time, it's so easy. Like you just do it because you're like, I want to see the outcome of this. And you don't even actually think about how much time it's taking you because you're so excited and you're so passionate about what you're creating and the outcome that that's going to drive. So it sounds like you have a really great team.
We do, Erin. Thank you. And again, we wouldn't be here without them. This is a true team play.
Well, thank you so much for your time today. I feel like it's so important for our audience to hear stories from every type of company out there trying to build cloud go-to-market strategies and partnerships. And having you guys, more of an early stage startup, share your story and the benefit that you have of being an early stage startup, of being able to create your product to really be productized inside of the cloud marketplaces and how that is accelerating your journey. I feel like that's inspiring and motivating for our more established companies that are in this huge transformation mode of like, I know I need to transform my product. This is going to take a while, but now hearing stories like yours gives them validation and hope and motivation to like go do it.
When we look at the marketplace, and we are, application driven, as I said, in terms of what we're covering mobile applications and web applications and APIs. We feel so strongly that we have an applicable solution for 90% of the data transactions that are happening in the cloud today. And so we believe that without this move, without the expert experience and assistance from Tackle, that we wouldn't be where we are today at this moment in time. But the reality is, by aligning ourselves with experts like you, we are truly in a position where we can increase our success in the marketplace.
Well, thanks for joining us today, David. This was super exciting for us to hear, not only for those ISVs listening who are in earlier stages, but also, as Erin mentioned, those that are established and looking to pivot their products. So thank you for sharing your stories. I know it was a huge block of your time that we've taken up over the last week or two, but I sincerely appreciate you joining us on this episode.
Patrick, Erin, I just want to say thank you, not only to you personally, but I want to thank the Tackle team as well. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the insights. We look forward to a long business relationship with you folks. Thank you very much for this time, and thank you for your consideration.
So pull up a chair, grab a notebook, and join us as we share the essential stages of the maturity model to start, optimize, and grow your company's revenue using the cloud. For more resources on executing your cloud go-to-market strategy, you can visit our website at tackle.io.